risking your health in the tremendous task of informing and alerting the American people.
Hello, welcome to the GIS Collective's video tutorial on adding markers to leaflet maps using JavaScript and HTML, and we'll also cover adding GeoJSON points to the leaflet map as well. Okay, so first of all, I'm just going to show you, this is kind of what we will see at the end result. What I have done is I have created a folder called add markers, and inside of it I have an index HTML file and a style sheet, a CSS style sheet called style.css. And if you've seen the first GIS Collective video on creating a leaflet map, this should be familiar to you. If you haven't seen it, you should go back and watch it. And so what I have here is using a text editor called Sublime Text 2, I have set up the web map you saw there, commented out some code that we'll be adding in to add that marker. But basically, if you watch that first video that Sam did, you will be in a good spot to continue on with this tutorial. So what we've got here is I have a reference to the jQuery library, which is a library I prefer to use when coding with JavaScript. You don't need to use it for leaflet, but I find it pretty handy, so you could add that in there if you want to. I'll be using it in this tutorial. And then we have two links here to the leaflet CSS style sheet that's hosted on their website, and also their JavaScript file. It's also hosted on their website, so we don't have to actually download the leaflet files and store them locally. I prefer doing this over the other way. And then we also have a style sheet reference to the CSS style sheet here, and it's just we have created a map div and we style the body just a little bit so that we can create the map you just saw. And then what we do is we open up the JavaScript script tag here, and as you can see, I have a on ready. When the document is loaded and ready, we will declare our map variable, and we'll put it in the map div, and then we will set the view and the zoom level by passing it coordinates and a number for how zoomed in you want to be. And then I am bringing in some OpenStreetMap tiles, and you just add it in basically like this. You l.tile layer, you specify the URL, you give the attribution, and then using this method add2, we place in the map variable and it adds it to the map. And I'll go back to the web page just to show you this marker is going to disappear, and this is basically what we're working with. Okay, and I also, if you haven't seen this, this is the developer tools that is in Chrome. I prefer to have them open when I make a web pages just to debug if anything goes wrong. Okay, so to add a marker, the first thing you want to do is declare the marker variable, which is done by just typing l.marker, and then you open parentheses, and then you open brackets, and you place in coordinates. So we have 39.5 and negative 98.35. And I always end that line with a semicolon. And then, so now that basically creates a variable that has your marker information contained in it. It's not going to be added to the map yet, but it's ready to be added to the map. But before we do that, we're going to add a pop-up. And we're going to add some information to be in a pop-up, so when you click on the marker, some information pops up. So you declare a variable here. I named it pop-up, and within it I just put hello world within two quotations, so it's a string, and then we have a semicolon ending that variable. And then what we do is you have to bind the pop-up message to the marker variable. So to do that, you use the method bind popup, and so you just say marker or the name of whatever whatever you're calling your marker variable dot bind popup, and then within these parentheses you put the popup information. And now after that, we're going to go ahead and just add it to the map. So to do that, you just say marker, and then using the method add2, so marker.add2, and then you pass it the map variable because that is what we are adding to the map. So let's go and see if it worked. Make sure you save, and then we'll go and refresh our web page, and there is our marker added. And then if you click on it, you'll see Hello World pops up, and then you can close it if you like. Awesome. Okay, so now what I'm going to show you how to do is how to add in GeoJSON information to your map, which is pretty cool. So to do that, if you don't have a GeoJSON, I'll show you how to get one. I built this tool for geocoding. So you can go to geocoder.giscollective.org. You can put in a street address and it will return a point, and then you can, it also returns the points in JSON format and CSV format. So we'll go ahead and put the address of my old apartment in Madison. You can put in any address you want. This is still buggy, so my apologies. I am trying to work it out. But so here you can see you click geocode, you put in your information, and a point has been added. And down here, we output CSV and JSON, or GeoJSON. So what you do is you just copy this text, and you can add as many as you like. I'm just going to do one for the tutorial. And then you go back to your text editor and create a new file. And then what you're going to do with this is we're going to take that JSON information and we're going to put it into a JavaScript variable. So if you type variable var, and then let's just call it address, and then equals, and then you just paste in the JSON that we copied, end it with the semicolon, and then we're going to save this as a JavaScript file. So I'm going to save it in the add markers directory where my other two files are. I'm going to call it, I'll just call it JSON, now I'll call it address.js. Okay, and then save, and then you'll see it gets, once you save it as a JavaScript file, the colors are all nice like JavaScript, whatever. And then to bring it in, we need to make a reference in the header. So just go script src for the source, and we called it address, so we'll just say address.js. And I don't think it matters, but probably should specify, I don't think it matters where you put this, but specify the type text/JavaScript. I guess convention probably says to do that first before src, but I really don't think it matters. And then we'll close the script tag out. And then now we have created a reference to that variable address. So all you have to do now is add it to the map. So you just use the leaflet library, and they have a method called GeoJSON, and then it takes a variable, so we're passing it the JSON variable address, and then we're doing another method on that called add2, and we're sending it to the map. And once you have that, it's so easy. You just do that one line, go to save, and let's go back to our map, and now we should have 2 points, one in Madison and one in the central United States. And I think when we click on this, there shouldn't be anything because we didn't actually bind any information to a pop-up. We can go ahead and do that. And we'll just call this one address marker pop-up equals the Webster Street bro up. Okay, and then we go oh, you know what? I don't actually know how to do that. I think perhaps if we were to do this, let's see. And then address marker dot bind popup, address marker popup. And then we should be able to just do address marker dot add to map, and then we'll just comment out this. And let's see if that worked. Complete shot in the dark. I have no idea. Cool. Okay. So there you go. That's how you add pop-ups, or as Leaflet calls them, or excuse me, that's how you add pop-ups to markers. That's how you add markers to a map. That's how you use JSON, GeoJSONs to add them to your Leaflet maps. And I hope you enjoyed.